Greetings, Soul Tribe and Soul Family. I am Sadi Soul, Soul Sadi. I am her, and she is me. Here, we are focused on our anchors to whole being healing and becoming active participants in our own whole being healing process, or the process of allowing balance, harmony, reconnection, and wholeness of our spirit, mind, and body. So today I wanted to talk about actually becoming active in your own whole being healing process, right? What are you waiting for? Many of us, we say we want to have happiness, fulfillment, peace of mind, joy, all of these things in our lives, right? So the question is, what are you doing about it? Are you just waiting on something outside of you to come save you? Are you just taking in a bunch of information or knowledge, thinking that it's power? Information and knowledge in of itself is not power. It is potential power, right? It's what you're doing with that information. It's putting forth effort and taking consistent action, right? Are you letting fear dictate what you do, right? Many times fear can feel like a physical block that's in front of us, right? And I know for me, for many years, I had thought about the life that I wanted to create. And for a while, I felt like I was taking all of this action towards it. But when I got to a point and I started writing things down of what I was doing, because it felt like I was doing all of this work and nothing was happening. But when I started writing it down, I looked and I really hadn't been doing anything. Most of it took place in my head, right? I would write something down that I needed to do, and it would be weeks later, and I would see that it hadn't been done. And I'm like, but I've been doing all of this work. So when I began to hold myself accountable for the things that I know I needed to do, I realized that, again, everything was taking place in my head. And before then, I had taken years just thinking about it, wanting it to happen, but waiting for someone else to come in and do it for me, right? Someone else to come and take up the slack. So I had to, and I was taking in all of this information. I was reading all of these self-help books, and I'm sitting up here like, oh my goodness, I'm learning all of these things. I'm taking in all of this information. Why is my life not changing? I wasn't putting forth the effort. And then when I started putting forth the effort, I had one foot in, one foot out. And I remember probably maybe about 15 years ago, I was sitting there and I was meditating on it, and I felt this sadness, because I knew that if I really wanted my life to change, I was going to have to get out of my head and actually physically put forth the effort. And I remember just feeling sad because honestly, in my head, I had created a whole nother life. And it was like having to let go and walk away from my best friend. I literally lived in my head. And so at that time, I wasn't necessarily ready. I don't really know if there's a such thing as ready, but I remember telling myself that I was willing to make the changes, and I knew it was going to be hard, right? And it took some time. And I remember a couple of years later, I was sitting up there and I was focused on it, and I was like, wow. Because all of the changes that I had made, I started writing it down so that I could and holding myself accountable so I can really see what I was actually doing. And so many of you who are thinking about it, right? And also one of the things that I realized about myself is that I thought that I was a positive person, right? But for me, I focus on what I call the positive side of negative, because I was always writing down my goals. I was always working towards something, or thought that I was, but I was always focused on what wasn't there, what was wrong, right? Why I couldn't do something. I was focused on the problem versus the solution, right? And what we focus on, we truly give life to. So are you focusing on your problems? Are you focusing on the solutions? So for me, I had to start writing it down and focus on my solutions. I had to ask myself about my resources, right? Starting with what I had, where I was, and who I was at the time in my life. Starting from there and taking small incremental steps, but learning how to be consistent, knowing that all of the changes weren't going to happen all at once. And then after a while, I remember I started getting frustrated because I was like, okay, I'm not seeing changes, and I had to think about it. So as a fitness trainer, right, I would have many clients that would come to me, right, after a while, and they'd be like, oh my goodness, I'm starting to get frustrated because I don't see any changes. So I would ask them, well, how do you feel? And most of them would be like, well, I feel stronger. I move better. My mood is better. When we are focused on the solutions and changing our lives, transformation starts on the inside, right? And then eventually we begin to see external changes. Not the other way around, right? As it says, so within, so without. But make the decision that you're going to put forth the effort, take action in changing your life. And then each day you choose to keep going forward. You choose to focus on the solutions. You choose to take action on the information and knowledge that you are taking in. You choose to learn how to tune in and listen to the wisdom and knowledge that is within you. You have the power within you to transform and change your life. But you have to get out of your head and into your life. Be accountable, right? For me, I had to stop blaming other people. I realized that as long as I blamed other people, I gave them power over me, right? I was saying to myself that they had the power over my life versus me knowing that I had the power within me to make the changes in my life. So today I encourage you to focus on the solutions, to take action, right? To start off with what you have, where you are in your life, and who you are right now. And knowing that you have the power, the ability to transform your life and to see external changes. So what you don't want is for years to pass and you look back and realize that if you had been consistent, right? If you had started with what you had, where you were in your life and who you were, right? how far along you would have been. Stop waiting for someone else to come and do it for you. It starts with you. You have the power to create your own universe. Y-O universe. It is within you. Focus on the solution. And you don't have to have all of the answers, right? I'll be honest with you. I am still learning as I'm going and growing. And also, your age, your chronological age is irrelevant, right? Don't let that deter you. If you're able to do it, right? As of now, as I'm making this, I'm a couple of months away from my 50th Earth Day. Young 50, but still. So I'm saying you can do it. What are you waiting for? If you're being called to, if you're feeling that nudge, go towards it. Find out what's on the other side. You know that there is much, much, much more to you and much more to your life than how you've been living, how it's been going to this point. What you don't want is to look up one day and be like, oh my gosh, what happened? How did I get here? And stop listening to people who aren't doing what you're looking to do, right? Many times we allow people to dictate our lives to us, right? They tell us who we should be, what we should be doing, who we're not, what we're not supposed to be doing. But you know, right? This is your life. Start with what you have, where you are, and who you are in your life right now. You have the power within you, right? Give yourself permission to be as great as you are. Be an example, be that light for the people around you. Because many of us, it's not that we don't want it. We either don't have an example, we don't know where to start. But if you're listening to this right now, right? The time is now. Be that example. Be that light. Be sure to make sure you check out the Anchors to Whole Being Healing workbook and journal series at www.sadisoulsoulsadi.com for and other merch. Until next time, here's to whole being healing. Peace, love, light, and bliss. Ashe.